Good morning, Flosstube. My name is Laura, and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you are new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play, and I would love to know more about you and what you like to stitch. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I so appreciate you watching my videos, taking the time to watch. I am so excited on Fridays when I get a chance to talk stitching, and it's just so much fun. So thank you for being here. And yeah, before I get going with all of my stitching, it's my usual amount of stitching. I think I kind of just gravitate to that number of pieces in a week. I have two things I wanted to say. One, I have a trading card video that just came out. It's a Flosstube Extra, came out a couple days ago. So if you are interested in learning about the 2024 Fall Artist Trading Card Swap, and you want the theme and all the details, jump over to the video right before this one. It's about a 10-minute video. Pretty quick, we talk about trading cards and the themes and so on and so forth. And I will have to tell you, so with the theme, I came up with like the most obvious ones, and I thought I was doing pretty good, but I knew there was others, and boy, are there others. I asked you to put in the comments anything else you could think of for the theme. So if you would like to see a huge variety of other things besides just what I had come up with, go check out the comments of that video. So many creative ideas, and some of you, if you are able to rechart a few things, it will be amazing. I am not good at that, so I am relying on the designers that I already have to have created things, but I cannot wait to see what this swap brings for creations. And I did get a question, and I did want to answer it here, and only as well as on the video. But somebody asked, well, how do I participate? Great question. I totally didn't think to put that on there. All you have to do is follow the details, create your card or cards, depending on how many you'd like to swap, and then reach out to me and ask me for the address, the mailing address to mail them to. You can reach out on Gmail. All that's down below what my addresses are. Instagram, and in a pinch Facebook, but I am really, really bad at finding Facebook messages. I don't know. It's a block I have. So it happens, and sometimes I'm really proud of myself when I find them, and I'm like, oh, and it's on time too, and this poor person hasn't waited for weeks for me to answer. So it is an option, but your better options are Gmail and Instagram. But you just ask for the address, mail them to me. I do all of the kind of swapping, and then I mail them out to you when the time comes. So great question. Alrighty. Also, some yay happy news for two Flosstubers out there, and I'm sure there's more. It just happens to be who I happen to catch this message for this week. As many people say, I'm so far behind on Flosstubes. There's so many good ones that I think it's just going to be a perpetual state where I'm going to be kind of scrolling back for some wonderful surprises of Flosstube goodness. But I did want to say happy 1-year Flosstube anniversary to SoFly's Unique Boutique and the Stitching Owl. So we had 2 1-year anniversaries this week. So congratulations to both of you for Flosstubing for a year, and I wish you many, many more years of stitching and sharing your stitching with all of us. So thank you for being there for us to watch and to share in your stitching. All right, let's get going with projects. So I did and continued to participate in the Olympics, the cross-stitch, well, I guess the cross-stitch Olympics challenge, I guess that's what I'm going to call it, the Nap Time Stitcher. And I'm just going to make myself a note. Again, I don't remember if last video I credited Nap Time Stitcher, and I do want to because it's a great event. I remember participating in the winter one a couple years ago. That was so much fun that I knew when the summer one was announced I wanted to do it. So I'm going to show you those first, and then I have a few more projects beyond that. Some were just because, and some there was a reason why I picked them up. All right, so the first one. And I am going to get out my pictures here on my iPad. So the first day, last Friday, was something with more than one person. And I think I mentioned this in my last video, but I pulled out Fish and Ships again. I hadn't done my 500 stitches the week before, So I said, well, this is perfect. I'll get some more stitching in. And I don't remember how much I did this week with it. But if you look right here, do you see how there's a couple people there? So I said, perfect, that'll work. Yeah, I just, you know how 3 ideas come into your head and you're not sure which direction to talk? That was just me. So I actually knew the words, but I didn't know which words I wanted to say. So anyway, fish and chips, long dog samplers. And this is the only one I have of that. But I'm enjoying it, I have to say. So let me show you where I ended up for the end of the week. I love this fabric. So this is 18 count. Now this was a part of a 3-piece fabric pack on Black Friday from Dying for Cross Stitch. And it was a blue-green pack. You didn't know what, I don't know if she said what you were getting or not. I don't remember. But I like Dying for Cross Stitch. Kathy has great fabrics, so I was willing to give it a try. Blues and greens, I mean, really, what's not to like about that? And as soon as I saw this, I said, yes, because I had been searching for fabric because I knew I wanted to start this on New Year's. And so once I got this, this was no turning back from it. I am stitching this with DMC Floche, although the back stitch I'm using Sulky white because the Floche is a bit thick. On 18 count, so the Floche is one-stranded. It's made by DMC, Floche, if you were looking for it. And on 18 count, I love the coverage. Really, really do. So yeah, this now has had couple weeks worth of time. It's gotten its 500 stitches in or whatever it was. I do remember I was able to put this on Pattern Keeper and I am over 50%, probably like 55. So not much over 50, but yay, I am over 50. So this one will go away for the moment and I will pull out, I think, Summer Quaker from Leela Studio because that's one of the pieces that I do on a rotation, large pieces for 500 stitches. I'm going to tackle it. If you were here last time I worked on it, you know I have a major snafu somewhere in the inner border. And I tried to find it the last time and I couldn't. So it kind of got in timeout. So I'm going to, I think, attempt to pull that one out again and at least try to find my mistake. I may not get much stitching in, but if I can figure out where I went wrong, then maybe I can go from there. Okay, so the next day was something with a border and it's another digital, so I need to find it. There it is. I really enjoy this one and I'm actually getting closer than I've realized to a finish. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying in like 2 weeks, maybe by the end of 2024, but this is Librarian's House. It is from Stone Street Stitch. And I am changing up the colors a little bit. I'm leaning a little bit more into blues than greens, but there are, that by all means, there's still some greens in it. I am changing the house. So if you see here with the house, I had one color house picked out, but I wasn't loving what I was trying to figure out what to do with it. And so I decided that I am going to make it based off of the Noah Webster house, which can be found in West Hartford, Connecticut, if you were ever in that area. They do have, you can tour the house. It's very cool. Noah Webster is basically known as like the father of our dictionary. So librarian, I think it was just his father, but his father was a librarian. So it's just perfect. My kids did summer camps there many times, so we have been there. So I had stitched the roof and all that went with it, and you know it's been torturous, but I have finally, this time around, it was the last time I had to pick, and so I finally got it frogged out. If I have to tell you, and I was thinking about this when I was doing it, if I knew how hard it would have been to pull all that out, I would have had to think long and hard about pulling it out. I mean, I'm thrilled now. And Noah Webster's house is kind of like the color of this, which is 221. So I know I'm gonna make the house that, and then I'm gonna go back again and look at the pictures. I'm sure that the roof's gonna be something along the brown lines. There is brown in here. I don't know if it's 3371, maybe. So there's options to choose from, but I changed the border. I went with a deep navy rather than the green. Where there was green flowers-ish, I went with like a denim blue. I changed the birds to more of a charcoal gray. But see, all of this blue was not charted. That was all put in there. And then I had changed the green, I think. There is green, these are green at the bottom, but I did change it. So they're slightly a different color too. So there's quite a bit of color changes, but it still has the same vibe, I think. It's just kind of punched up in my colors a little bit more. This is 18 count Darling David from Those Missing Stitches. Isn't it beautiful? Now, Lynn, what she does in her Etsy shop, and she's linked down below, is she rotates quarterly what's available in her shop, and she also creates new fabrics. So far quarterly, as far as I can tell. But Darling David has been a year long available, the only one that's available all year long. So if you're looking for it, I have to say the pieces I've stitched on it, all the colors always seem to look good on it. So if you are looking for a fun one, now this is 18 count. I don't know what other shades look like. So this week, first I had to do the final pulling. And yes, you can kind of see the color, but I'm restitching right over the same spot. So I'm not particularly worried about that. And then I did some more border. I did, on this side, I did all of this flower. And then I started the green here. So far, because, you know, you do these things and then you get really worried, is it going to fit, right? I do border piece. Like I never just do a full border or leave the border to the end. I kind of go back and forth. And so I've been really counting things off, and fingers crossed, I think I'm still good. Both of these are completely even, which is what they are in the pattern, and they seem to line up to the same spot on the border. So I think I'm good. I mean, if I have to fudge, I'll fudge, but hopefully I won't have to. So yeah, so this is so much fun. Now there is a stitch along for this one. It's hashtag librariansamplersal, and it is a stitch along that was started by myself and Beth, the Steadfast Stitcher, and I'm gonna write down Beth's name. We started it back in last September for Sampler September. You know that generally what I stitch as considered samplers are not necessarily like the traditional, when you say like reproduction sampler or something, but I really do enjoy some of these pieces. And so that's how I jumped in. I don't know what I'll do with this September. Maybe I'll make this a focus and try to get it done in September so that it would be a 1-year piece. That might be a fun idea. But yeah, so as you can see, the reason why this is going to take longer is I still have to do all of those hearts are going to be all the way around. And then there's little green bits that go around all of that. So that's like the little fussy stuff. Like the house won't be that long to stitch. And then there's a beautiful, you know, big plant here with a couple birds and so on and so forth. That'll be fun to stitch. It's the monotony of doing this part that's going to be a little bit what catches me in the end. Do you know what I mean? So maybe I'll try to find some challenges that match it, like this week's with the Olympics or something, because that would be a fun way to kind of get it done. So yeah, I'll think about that for September. Thank you for letting me work that through in my head. All right, next. Now this is one of my oldest stitches. Actually, my 2 oldest stitches are Christmas stitches. This is ChristmasTown, and it is from Stitchrovia. And it was something with a house. Well, there's about 27 houses on this one. I don't know how many. There's a lot. Actually, probably because there's pieces, maybe even more. So I said, you know, this one needs to get done, as does Kringle's, but you know, I picked this one. I wanted some bright colors and so on and so forth. And so this is where I am. It probably only got maybe 250 stitches or so, because that was kind of what I tried to do on the Olympics day. And then I tried to come back to some of them, but I got really obsessed with 1.5 other pieces. And so I kept pulling those out each day and putting in like another 100 stitches and so on and so forth. So some of these I just never got back to, but I started to concentrate down here. This is being done on 18 count white Aida, and it's opal, so it does sparkle. It's quite lovely in person. I don't know if it comes off on the screen. Now around here is going to be a pathway, kind of like a snow. And I am not going to stitch that. It does call for stitching. There are in some places like blue snow, you know what I mean? Like kind of the shaded. And I may stitch those just to kind of provide a little bit of a contrast. Like it'll be like little piles of snow or something. I'm not sure. But I think I want to keep it because with the opal, it'll be a little sparkly. You can see here, I didn't stitch inside this. And then quite a few of all the windows, not all of them, but quite a few of them I may leave open just kind of with the sparkle. So we're plugging along. Nowhere near going to be finished before Christmas, but you know, we will just take it one day at a time. Okay, next. All right, let me flip my page here. Okay, so day 11, which was Monday of this past week, was favorite designer. Well, that's like picking your favorite child, right? I mean, you love so many, and I truly, honestly don't have a favorite. It's not like there's one person whose patterns come out and I buy all of them, stitch all of them. Not really. I like, you know, parts and whatever. So what I how I tackled this was I thought about, okay, what do I have going as projects right now? Which designer do I have the most open for? And I didn't really count Cottage Garden with the 12 monthly things. I kind of, because that's like a whole series thing that I'm doing. So I kind of put that one to the side. And so I realized that I think I have 4 Jan Hicks. 1, 2, 3, yes. And I really like her Sunflower release coming up at the end of the month. So maybe there'll be a 5th Jan Hicks. So I said, well, let's do Jan Hicks then. And I love this one. This is called Arabesque. It came out in March, and if you are part of the Jan Hicks Facebook group, I believe on August 1st, they officially kicked off a stitch along. Now, I don't know if it was June 1st-ish. Beth, again, the Steadfast Stitcher, and I decided we both wanted to start it, and Paula from Stitching in High Heels also wanted to start it. So we all started it, and we have a hashtag, and maybe that's the same one. I don't know, because I always check hashtags to see if they're available, but I don't know if everybody does. But it's hashtag arabesquesal, S-A-L. And so Paula, Beth, and myself are all doing this pattern in 3 completely different ways, which I think is so cool. I am doing it monochromatic. I believe Beth is as well, and then Paula is not. And it's so cool seeing everybody's and all the differences. So this is what mine is. I really fell in love with the color. I like that kind of color scheme, kind of a pomegranate, deep pinkish red. And so I decided I wanted to keep it. And I pulled out, and I think I have in my notes, I think I renamed it wrong in my notes the 2nd week in a row. Yes, it's Elvin Wine from Stitchy Stuff Co. This is the little tag. Last time I checked, Stitchy Stuff Co. was on a little bit of an Etsy break, but I haven't checked this week since as I've been before uploading the video, I should say, or before filming the video. So I don't know if she's back or if she's still on vacation. But I recently discovered her threads, and it is a variegated, but I, as you've come to realize, really love subtle variegation. And I don't do everything that's necessary for the maximum variegation. I purposely don't. So again, it'll be lighter in that sense too. So this is an 18 count. It was an unnamed. I kind of just wanted something very kind of mellow. And this is a gray. If I go back here, because we've got a window right there and the sun is coming. No, not sun, because it's cloudy. The light's coming in and it's kind of washing it out. And I think I only got to this on Monday. Unfortunately, I kept wanting to go back to it, but then, like I said, I got obsessed with other things. But I've completely finished this part of the border. I had a couple sections to do with that, and then I started to come down here. There's a giant flower at the very bottom. And then I think I did some more of this flower up here, and then I almost finished the letter A. I kind of was completing different parts so that I can kind of move on. And ooh, there we go. I can move on and then kind of be done with parts. Do you know what I mean? So I don't have to worry about missing something and then skipping it. So much fun. I really do enjoy this. I love Jan Hicks. She has such a great variety of projects that she charts, and she does a really lovely job with the charting. So if you are stitching this one as well, let me know. Oh, and that was Monday, right? And so Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher, has also said she wants to do Monochromatic Monday. And Nancy, you have to do a video to show everybody what you're stitching for that. I'm not going to say, because as soon as she shows it, you're gonna love her choice. So on Mondays, hashtag Monochromatic Monday if you'd like to stitch something that's monochromatic, one color. And I have a new start that'll be coming up that's monochromatic, and it's like my new love for stitching. You know, that'll ebb and flow, and I'll find something else at some point. But at the moment, I am obsessed with all things monochromatic. I just love, there's something so meditative about it for me. I know some people get bored with just the one color, but you just pull a strand and then you keep stitching, and then you pull another strand and you just keep stitching. And besides the fact that it's faster for me, but it's just so relaxing, because there's no, oh, where's that color, and I have to stop and start and this and that. So I've enjoyed it. I really, really enjoyed that kind of stitching. So we'll see. Alrighty, so then day 12. What was day 12? Something with an animal. I had lots of options with that. I decided to go something a little whimsical, because Arabesque was very elegant. So let's go whimsical. And this is Alice in Wonderland Tree by Tiny Modernist. So that's what it'll eventually look like. There is a stitch along for this. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hashtags listed for this week's set of projects. And I have a new stitch along starting today too. So it's a very funny juxtaposition, I guess is the best way. I'm actually almost overwhelmed by stitch alongs, and yet I'm starting them more again and again. So it's really kind of funny, because you'd think I'd be like, whoa, no more stitch alongs, because I need to kind of recalibrate and not feel like I'm drowning in stitch alongs. And then I'm like, oh yes, let's do this stitch along. So anyway, tinyalicesal, and so much fun. Now this is like, I did the Wizard of Oz one as well. There's lots of color changes. So this is a great example. You jump from monochromatic to this. It's so much fun though, because, you know, you do a little piece and then next thing you know, you've got a little finish. Although some of the pieces are longer. That cat up top took ages, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you. But it's fun. It's a fun change of pace. So when I do want something that's a little bit different, this is one that I can pull out. And that's where I am. So what did I do? I finished the queen. The only thing I haven't done is her, well, there's 2 stitches for each hand. I haven't done those yet, because I'll wait till I pull that color out again. And her backstitching of her eye and her mouth. Otherwise, she is completely done, including, yep, her wand. And then I decided to do this flower here. I am choosing to do all the backstitching at the end, which is what I did with Wizard of Oz. This one has more, but I don't think it's still not, it's not like the entire piece is backstitched, and it'll be a lot of work in that sense. So it's fine. You can see I keep skipping this part. All I have to do here is fill in this clock with white, and then the rest is backstitch. But I'm waiting, I keep forgetting to pull this out during like a zoom. I mean, how perfect is that for a zoom? And this only needs backstitch legs, so that's done. And then I have to do a flower over here and then stuff it. These repeat at the edge of each these, and then this down here, those leaves. And that's the same with Wizard of Oz. She did repeat at the edge of each tier. So I'm coming along. It's going to take me a while. Did I say this is 18 count? It's, where is my list? Opal Blue Ice from To Die For Fabrics. I really wish I hope To Die For comes back. So she took I'm calling it a sabbatical. I'm hoping she didn't shut down her dyeing shop for good, because I really do like To Die For Fabrics. Aida, the 18 Aida is generally what I use. And you know I have so much of it because it's a wonderful feel, especially I'm a stitch in hand kind of person. So I just adore it. And this color is fantastic. And the opal is really nice and it's fun. I've done Christmassy stuff on it. And then, you know, I did Wizard of Oz on it. So it's just so whimsical and fun, and a lot of things look good on it. So let's put this collective out there that Kimberly comes back and dyes fabrics, because she was quite talented at it. Alrighty. What's next? All right, day 13 was part of a stitch along. Well, that was easy because there's about 1 million stitch alongs, like I said, that I'm participating in. And I pulled out because I really wanted to do some more color. I wanted to see how the colors were going to come alive on this one. And you know I've struggled because I'm changing colors, partly because of my fabric. Some of them don't show up, and partly because I kind of want to just jazz it up a little bit, and you're going to see that with the fabric. So this is what the original looks like. This is Yellow Submarine from Blackbird Designs, and then I also took inspiration from the original, the album covers and the art that the Beatles put out. So again, I'm kind of looking at this, and when I was choosing colors, I was trying to find some that would also honor the album covers and the original and the idea of the whole color scheme that they had originally put out. So what did I come up with? I don't have everything in yet, but I have almost all the colors decided, and I'm just going to hold it like this because it works. Oh boy. Okay, so first let's go back. That's the color of the fabric. It's 18 count Dive In from Bestitchme. I put myself in the corner more because when the weather's like this, it's cloudy, but it's bright. There's a weird cast that kind of goes over everything. So I'm really tucked in among my DMC and my IKEA calyx, and I'm just stuck in a corner here, but it works so that everything doesn't look completely odd. So let me come up for a second. So again, this is blowing out. Well, it is pretty bright, but you can see how there it's kind of blowing out altogether. If I come up, almost everything has changed, to be honest with you. I did honor some of the colors. I'm using a variety of Stitchy Stuff Co. dyeing for cross stitch, and I have a Roxy floss. So, but I'm also doing DMC. What I've taken to doing, because you know I have years and years and years been DMC person and stitcher, and I still am. Don't get me wrong, DMC, I mean, I wouldn't have these shelves, each one for a single DMC, if I didn't, right? I mean, I've made a commitment and I love my DMC, but I've decided to, especially some of the smaller hand dyers, right? I want to support you, right? And I want to try different pieces. So when I have bought them, I've not bought anything that was specifically charted for a pattern. I just go and I look at the sites and I say, oh, I like that. And oh, that's pretty. And oh, that might work for XYZ. And I just kind of pick and choose. And then I have some fun with it. So that's what I've done here. I know that this is a variegated, this is a slightly different one. You can see here, I did change those. I kept the green, but I went with more of a peachy color because I know that's in the main design of the album. I ended up with just one green because I wasn't loving the two. I changed the inside of the flower. The Submarine is going to have 3 different colors as to what's called for. One, which is this one right here, is Midas Touch from Dyeing for Cross Stitch. The other 2 are DMCs. And you can see I've started to stitch with one of them, but not much. I think the 3 are going to go nicely together, and that was part of why I kept wanting to come back to this. And I wanted to finish this, and then I had to pick out this flower and restitch it, and I've spent time finding colors and seeing what works. But I wouldn't be surprised if you see this again, because I know I'm going to want to do some more stitching of the Submarine and see how that really pops. The bottom border here, I'm not against it, because I understand how it's kind of grounds everything, and you've got some flowers going into it. But I'm not sure if those 2 colors are the 2 colors. I'll look at the album cover again and see what I want to do with that. So that may change too. But I am just so obsessed with stitching it. Now there are two stitch alongs that I jumped on that this applies to. One is, and if you look in the description box, I will give you the names of, because I haven't always said, have I? Oh, so the only one I forgot, tinyalicesal. Allison from Cross Stitch the Globe, and Fanny from her and Marianne have a Flosstube. It'll be linked down below. I'm so sorry, I've forgotten the name of it. It's so much fun to watch. They are just really just fun. I can't remember. It's completely gone. Well, they're the ones that are hosting that. But again, it's in the description box below. Back to this one. So Stephanie from Cross Stitch the Globe and Julian Stitches 16. Julie, is that? Again, her Flosstube will be down below. They have the hashtag fabfourfunsal. And then Sarah from Sarah's Stitchy Spot, and it's Peg something 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 on Instagram. Again, it'll be listed down below. Those 2, they have the bbdmagicalmysterytoursal. So there's lots of now the BBD one is basically looks at the 6, I believe, Blackbird design beetle pieces. Fab for Fun can be anything Beatles. I have a different piece that I would like to stitch sometime that is not part of this series, and I would hop onto that stitch along if I did. So that's where it is. A lot to say. I've spent a lot of time. So again, this was also one I had to frog. There was a theme here. This past weekend, there was so much frogging. I felt like I was frogging more than I was stitching. 2 pieces you've seen so far. There's another 3rd one that had some major frogging. I was so over it. I was like, I just want to stitch. I don't want to pull things out. I don't care if anything else is wrong. It's just going to stay that way. The last Olympics so far, because this was yesterday, the theme was something you want to work on. Well, I mean, that's as open-ended as you can get, right? Because I want to work on all my pieces. I love my stitches. But one that I love, love, love coming back to again and again is Celtic Dragon. And this is by 2x2 stitch art. And I think we've completely decided, right? We collectively, the border is gone. We've kicked out the border. I am very much leaning against even, I was totally on board for stitching this. And the more I stitch my dragon, I'm doing all of this first. I'm more and more convinced that I might just want that part. And you can see because it's so beautiful. Let me show you. Oh boy, isn't that beautiful? I love the fabric I chose. It's 18 count. Look at this thing. Of course, I put it that way on the fabric because there's a huge portion here between the big kind of half moon, crescent moon, and then the border. So it's kind of funny where it's sitting. But this is 18 count Phoenix from Bestitchme. And it's funny because I don't always know, you know, besides like say a pretty lady or those kinds of things, what would I do with something like this? But I think a dragon, right, is just a perfect option on it. The dragon is blue. She's being stitched on Roxy Floss, Roxy Floss Co. Floss. That's called She's So Blue. And It's a takeoff of Zayden's Dragon in Fourth Wing. So yes, at some point, Violet will also get, the dragons there will also get their fair due. But right now, I loved this one, and I wanted to do it in the blue, and I mean, Roxy Floss, she's so blue, how perfect was that? So that's what it looks like. And I completely finished here. So I think each of these sections have been completed. And I'll continue probably with that. And then there's the huge kind of, you know, Celtic element at the middle that swirls around the tail, which will be quite a bit of stitching yet. But I mean, honestly, if I just do the dragon, I could get this done within a year. So this was originally started, you know, like you need an excuse to stitch a dragon, but Samantha, the Hugo Stitcher, and Erica from Fibers and Floss Canada started hashtag Year of the Dragon Sal, because this year is the Year of the Dragon. And that was my excuse to just jump on board. And that's when I started. It was when the Stitch Along started. And I don't know if the official Stitch Along, I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? But I think some of the pieces are humongous. So getting them done in a year is probably not doable. But I honestly think, especially as much as I enjoy stitching this one, I might be able to get just the dragon done in a year. And then I may have to take a little break, and I might keep it out somewhere, you know how, and kind of look at it and see. I mean, I think it's, whoops, where'd it go? I completely got a different picture. I like the crescent moon and I like the designs of it, but I just don't know if it's necessary. As you know, do I want the focus just on the dragon? Is where my thoughts are going on that one. So we'll see. We will see on that. Alrighty. That was the Olympic stitching. And in and among that, I also had a few different things that I just need to move around a second. Hold on. There we go. You know, I'm supposed to, what I should do, and my physical therapist would tell me to stop, get up, do my exercises, and sit back down again. But I love my stitching too much, so we're just going to keep talking stitching. Don't tell them that I sat through the whole video. I'll get up and move around afterwards. Okay, so it's the Olympics, right? And I was thinking about, well, what do I want to stitch for full coverage stitching? And I realized I have this piece. I really should be stitching it during the Olympics. Now, I finished the rotation on it, I believe Wednesday. I got 1,000 stitches in on it, so I'm putting it away. But I mean, I had to stitch Mini Paris Morning during the Olympics. I mean, literally, there's the Eiffel Tower back there. Now, there we go. This is charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. The artwork is by Uliana Babenko, and it is the mini. And the entire reason I am doing, now Uliana Babenko has a series of different pieces of these. I love the little dog. The little dog reminds me, I've told you this before, totally of Shamrock. If you look close, the little doggy's tongue is sticking out because they're begging for something. And I mean, that was my little chamois. So, I mean, I love the colors of it. It was funny because Mo and I were watching something the other night, and Mo's like, what are you stitching? I like the colors. And so I showed him, and he was like, oh, like he didn't realize how big it was going to be when I showed him the picture. And I said, yeah, I'm up in this little teeny tiny corner at the moment, but let me show you the whole thing first. I didn't do anything in the bottom, but you can see we have 3 corners. The 4th corner won't happen probably until near the end. But there's the top, the width. That's as long as it's going to be. I wanted to see. I gave myself plenty of room here. But I didn't do any of that this time around. I pretty much stayed up top. This one, like most of my full coverages, I started doing them before I had Pattern Keeper. So I was doing them paper. And I mean, as you can imagine, some of the confetti, it didn't get done in the same way as it will now that I have Pattern Keeper when I start things, just because it's harder to see, right? You've got this, I mean, Heaven and Earth Designs, those are small charts, right? And you're trying to look and see, and then I would mark off with a highlighter and everything else. So a lot of what I'm doing may or may not be noticeable, but there's 1,000 stitches that went into this. I did a little bit extra here and started to fill in. I didn't have a lot of confetti, as you can see. It's starting to fill in because that was easier to do, but I did do some up here. And then I did a lot of the confetti in the leaves. There's quite a bit, lots of different colors there. And you won't be able to see it so much, but I started some of the, there's white stitching here. The entire section in the area of the background has clouds. So there's a couple thousand, no, probably even more than that, stitches of white. So I've been trying to do some of that, which is going to be hard to see. And then filling in some of the lighter blue and filling in through here. So it really, I would pick a color, see what I can do, see what was readily available, and I'd jump around. I am not going to show you my backs. I'll show it anyway. It's a mess, but there we go. As you can see, I'm carrying, but I don't care. Now that I have it where, I mean, I wouldn't carry like from here to here, but if I have to carry like 10, I'm not stopping and starting. I'm giving up on that idea. It's so nice now being able to just do the confetti. So that's where it is. This will go away. This is an 18 count white Aida, 2 strands over 1, full cross. And both full coverages that you'll see this week, all my full coverages right now are being done that way. Now, I started this I had showed you just the start of this last week. And this is another one that I'm not quite as obsessed with this one as I am with Yellow Submarine, but it's Lighthouse from Cottage Garden Samplings. This was one of the newest houses. It's number 8 in the series. She has shown the, what is she calling it? Water house? I don't know what she's calling it. It's very cool how you've got, you know, it's on the water and you've got the fish underneath and so on and so forth. But I have to say, I have enjoyed this series quite a bit. I ebb and flow, right? And that's natural. Some people will love one series more than another, and I thought last year's series was cool, but I'm not sure I'd stitch it. The year before that, I'll stitch some of them. This year, I might stitch, probably not all 12, but pretty close. But anyway, I digress. I did want to jump on different fabric. You know I did that, and I showed you that last week. Well, I like to make working copies. And the very first day I worked on this, on Friday, I hadn't gotten around. So I very carefully worked with my main copy. You can see now, it's in here, it's staying safe. I have my working copy. What I didn't realize and I think you had seen some of the light from the lighthouse. What I didn't realize was when I made my working copy, it cut off about two stitches on this border. So I made my working copy. I was stitching along merrily, and I had messed up. This entire thing was messed up then, all of it. So I had 2 choices. I either start over or I pull it out. I was still a little bit naive, and I had only frogged 2 pieces. I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And I had to frog all the yellow that had been there. I don't remember how much that was. I knew the white was fine. I had gotten the white right, so I could keep that. So I frogged all of that, and then I stitched all of this again. Now I am a bit, I believe, farther than I was. I mean, I have a working copy now. It's so much easier because you just mark off with your highlighter. This is going to be very cool because, like a lot of Cottage Garden, when she has big swaths of color, she puts in some sort of designs. And you can see I've done the inner part of some of this design right here because the light's going to go here down to here, and then you'll have the lighthouse, and then it goes from there. I love this fabric. This is 18 count Compelling Conscious from Those Missing Stitches. I showed you last week the seagull, which was 2 years ago, right? One of the ones from Cottage Garden. And so I knew right away I wanted to do this one. It's a little bit different in size. This is square. I don't know if all of them are square. I haven't looked at it close enough to know. I knew these colors would look good, and I just wanted to go with that. So that's what I ended up going with. And this is, I have a kind of a slightly lighter version of Compelling Conscious and this darker one, but the darker one was what I did the seagull on. And if I wanted to somehow make them part of a collection, I wanted them to have the same kind of shading. So I still had, I have, you know, parts of this left over. So yay, I was able to do that. So that's where I am. A lot of pulling out. It took me probably at least an hour on Saturday last week to do all the pulling. And then I was like, okay, now I got to restitch. So every day I would, not every day, but I would be like, okay, I'm going to pull out Yellow Submarine, put in 100 stitches or whatever. Okay, now I'm going to pull out Lighthouse and put in some stitches. So even though they had gotten more than some of the other ones, I just couldn't help myself. Now there is a stitch along with this one, and it is hashtag Let Your Lighthouse Shine, SAL, and it is being hosted by Andrew the Runner Stitcher, Laura Lala D Stitches, and Salix on Instagram. Alex, it's Sal. It'll be in the description box below. I'm relying on my memory. I didn't write the notes beforehand. What I should do when I know I'm going to be talking about stitch-alongs is put them in. I have my notes for the video, and then I have my notes for the description box, and I should have put it there, but oh well. Anyway, it'll be there if you want to know. And I have a section where I talk about Flosstubers and their links, and then I also try to add Instagrammers when I talk about them if they don't have a Flosstube, so that you have a chance to see their sites as well, to go there. So that's what that one is. I can't guarantee I'm not going to be obsessed with stitching this one in Yellow Submarine again this week. We'll have to see. Oh, tomorrow is part of a series. Well, you may see this one next week now. Thinking about it. The other full coverage, again, and I don't normally theme them, but it's August. And I have Mini Peridot. And this is from Heaven and Earth Designs, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And I believe Rachel Anderson is the artist. I have quite a few of these. And I got to tell you, I love this arch. It's driving me bonkers. There's so much confetti. Again, this was a piece, and I'd be really curious because I am a glutton for punishment. I'm going to start another one of these. I mean, I have like 6 or 7 of the different birthstone, and I think they're very pretty. I'd like to start one from scratch and see how the confetti feels versus having done it from paper and then transferring over. So I'm not all the way down to the bottom. I didn't get all the way down to the bottom on this one. I think because I kept telling myself, nope, you've got to do more confetti. And I very much heavily worked on confetti this week. This will be my 100 stitch a day, full coverage, 100 stitch a day focus for the month of August. I think yesterday was the only day I didn't get to it. I had some time last night, so I ironed, after I'd finished stitching, I ironed everything that I was going to show you today, because I never seem to stitch before I film on Friday morning, so it doesn't really matter. In fact, so I'm upstairs, and it's bedtime, and I say to Mo, I am 99% sure I pulled out that plug for the iron, because my iron, that's how you turn it on. You just plug it in. 99.9% sure. And he's like, I will go upstairs and check. It's kind of like, you know, when you leave the house, did you put down your garage door? So Mo was very gracious enough to run upstairs, and yes, I had unplugged it, but I worry about that. That's why sometimes I don't like to iron at night, because I'm always like, oh, did I forget? So anyway, 18 count white aida, 2 strands over 1, full cross like the other one. And it may not seem like much, but it's got a good 700 stitches in so far. I think, let me see, did I start it? I did start August 1st. I did remember, and I said, oh, I'm going to do that. But you can see, I mean, there's so much confetti, and every color is different as you do side to side stitches. There's a huge swath of black stitching right here. You could see one day, this was before I had Pattern Keeper, I think. I just wanted to get to that. And I keep wanting to go back to that, and I keep telling myself, no, just a little bit more confetti, just a little bit more, just a little bit more. I have no illusions that the confetti is going to be done, even if I do 100 a day for the entire month, but I'll get a chunk done. And I will give myself a couple days of block stitching just because. And that's fun because the inside of it, the colors are a bit brighter greens. So that's going to be fun. I'm kind of looking forward to that too, because those are more grays, and there are greens, but there's a lot of gray kind of charcoals and so on and so forth. All right, 2 more. This next one, I just pulled out because I hadn't stitched it in a while. And where is it? Here we go. And this is called Dandelions from Owl Forest Embroidery. I am not using the Owl Forest threads. I'm using DMC's, except for one. Yeah, one variegated, and I'll show you that in a minute. All of the DMC alternatives that Owl Forest gave, I really did like, except for, do you see this kind of color here? That's this and that section and over here. I didn't really like it. Now and so I had stitched it a little bit because I wanted to see, and it was just a little, there's not much difference in what I chose. I can even show you actually. I'm a mess with my variegated, so please overlook that, because this is how I do my DMCs, if you're ever wondering. So I pull a DMC, I pull my strand at the length, and when I'm done, I just wrap it right around again. And then I pull that, I use that, and then I go to my next thing. So I am not savvy in how to use the floss drops. I do have a few, and I mean, I'm kind of starting to learn because the variegated are on these types of items. So I will get there because I have some cool floss drops that I want to try using. I just haven't gotten there yet. I'm not, just not savvy enough with it. So just ignore the entire complete mess of what this looks like. But anyway, so this was the DMC. Let me show you first. That's where I am. And part of what I needed to do was, again, I had to rip out. Oh, so there was 4 things I had to rip out. I ripped out, yeah, this and this. I first ripped out this, stitched it with what I was going to use instead. And I said, yeah, I like that. So then that came out as well. So rip out, restitch. I got this down here done. I was actually on a Zoom, so I had to be a little bit smart in what I chose. Something like this, if I had tried to do that on a Zoom, it would be completely wrong. There is a lot of counting on some of these pieces. And I think I finished up here. I did little bits and pieces. I mean, if you look at this, there is a lot there, a lot. And you can't quite see the white very well, but all of that is all white with the dandelion. I went sort of the same color vibe. I tested 3 different fabrics for this. It was a process, and I ended up liking this one the best. This is 18 count Twilight Mist from To Die For Fabrics. They are the ones on sabbatical, and I liked how the colors popped on this. So the original DMC alternative that they gave was 3776, and it's not bad, and in fact it almost looks the same. I ended up going with, look at this, Autumn. Oh my god, it's such a mess. Ignore it. Let me see if I can, no, there's just no way I can make it pretty. So you can see this is brighter, and it was a little bit too bright in and amongst these other colors. This one, very similar, but a little bit deeper, and just enough so that it was what I wanted. Like many of my variegated, it's not heavily variegated, although there is some. I don't particularly worry. I know designers always say, if you don't use the variegated, it won't look the same. Well, sometimes I like mine better. But I don't particularly worry about that. I'm going for the vibe. I like the whole thing as a whole. So whether or not it looks exactly like, I mean, I change the fabrics all the time, so it's not going to look exactly the same anyway. But that's where it ends. And I'm really happy and pleased with what I chose instead. I was struggling a little bit, and I kind of had it put aside because of that. Plus, that one is very much a lot of counting and color changes, so I have to be in the right mood. All right, so the very last one I worked on was from this book here. It's Cross Stitch for the Earth by Tiny Modernist, Emma Congdon. No, not Tiny Modernist, excuse me, Stitchrovia. They have kind of that same vibe of bright, fun colors. Stitchrovia is Emma Congdon. Megan gave me this book for Christmas, I think, last year, and I started this piece on Earth Day because I said, well, you know, I needed to start something on Earth Day. And it is, there's no titles to these, so I call it Difference You Make, because the saying is never underestimate the difference you make. And I didn't go with a lighter color. I went with, all right, so let me come back here for a minute because this is definitely one that's going to get blown out. That's the color right here. This is 18 count fresh cut, and it's light from Dyeing for Cross Stitch. Kathy, what she does on Dyeing from Cross Stitch is a lot of times, not every single one of them, but a lot of them will have a light, medium, dark version of a color. And it's very cool because you can decide what you want. And I just kind of wing it most of the time. And I say, oh, I like this light. Oh, I want this medium, whatever it happens to be. Look at how pretty that is. It's very pretty variegation, modeling without being, you know, completely in your face modeling. All right, so ignore the blowout now as I come up. I have completely finished the word. I started one of the trees. I still have this border to do. I did this border. I started the bird here. I've got the mushroom right there started. So I kind of jumped around a little bit. The colors are so much fun that I think I wanted to do a little bit of all the different colors. So that's where it is. And it's fun. This one just came out because there wasn't any specific reason. I'm just going to open this. This is I was gifted a, would you call them portfolios? Portfolios. And so it's perfect because I'm able to slide the book right in here. And so it's a great way for me to keep the book. I do have a working copy that I work off of, and then I can put my stitching in with the flosses on this side. So I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to zipper. I'll just close it up for now. So that's that. That's my stitching. Yay! What are my plans? So I have a start planned for today, hopefully. Oh, I need my iPad to show you. So you know I had talked about Lena Ova, and I had bought a few of her patterns. Christine, Stitching in the Burrow, was stitching Anne of Green Gables, and Crystal from Skolsdane was stitching Mary Poppins. And I actually bought both of those because I loved both of them. And I talked about how I was going to stitch them, but I'm not stitching the whole thing. And if you watch Lynn from Those Missing Stitches, she said, oh, that's a great idea. And I'm not going to tell you which one she picked, but she has made amazing progress. So if you have not watched Lynn's newest video, go watch it because she's flying on it, and it's going to be done before you know it, and it looks beautiful. So anyway, so Crystal said to me, well, let's do a stitch along. I said, absolutely. And I was able to find fabric for this one faster than Anne of Green Gables. So Anne will get started. And I do want to get, and I forgot to pick it up during the sale, but I don't need to get it this second. I want to do Cinderella as well. And I think I have some ideas for fabric on that. But anyway, I'm not going to stitch the outer border of Mary Poppins. I'll just stitch, if you can see, there's like an inner border that starts. That's what I'll do. And I'll do that segment right there. Now, when I was thinking about fabrics, and I'm doing this monochromatically, I wanted to be guided by, this is a while ago. So if you haven't been with me for a long time, you may not have ever seen this. I haven't finished this yet. I thought about framing it actually versus putting it in the scrapbook, which is why it's still not finished. In fact, it doesn't even have, because, you know, if I'm going to frame it, I don't need to bother to put interfacing on the back of it. If I know I'm going to scrapbook it, I usually put the interfacing on the back. This was a fabric that came from Bestitchme, but she changed her color dyeing method. So the name of it is it's different. It looks different now. So I don't even remember what it is, but it doesn't matter because it's a different color. But I loved this idea of Mary Poppins in kind of a blue, but almost gray-ish tones. And I had some options. And I leaned into the blue with some gray here. If you remember, does it say what month it was? No. I am in the Under the Sea Fabric Club, monthly fabric club. And a few months ago, she sent this one. And I said, oh, that's perfect. It's kind of got that blue. I don't know if this side is a little darker, so I'll figure out. It's got the blue with the grayish. And I am just going to go, I thought about a couple different things, and I sent them to Crystal and asked her opinion, and she agreed with me that I'm just going to go with 939. And I'm going to do that, the DMC 939. And yeah, so I'm hoping to start this today. Hashtag is Lena Ova Sal, S-A-L. I'll put that information down below. Make sure I have it in my notes. So if you'd like to join with a Lena Ova, any Lena Ova pattern, excuse me there, try to say that fast 10 times, come and join. This one, yay, is, like I said, I was alluding to the fact that I'm going to have a monochromatic, and that's this one right here. Under the Sea fabric of the months are not available the year she does them, and then usually she does kind of like a survey of what people like, and then she will sometimes add some of them in. So I don't know if this is going to get added in. It's called Uranus, but I don't know if it's going to get added in or not to her regular. It's a beautiful blue though. Be kind of cool if she does add it. So that's hopefully being started today. Then the other thing that I think I want to start this week, I actually have fabric chosen for it, so that's a good sign right there. I talked about wanting to start Moonshine from Silver Creek Samplers. Silver Creek, wow, what did she put out? She's putting out 10 patterns, I think, for this month's marketplace. If you haven't seen them, they're fun. I'm thinking this fabric. This is Devoted Dobbin from Those Missing Stitches. So that's the pattern. You can see it's in kind of a gray. And then that's what that looks like. I did do a floss toss. There might be one gray. I want to make sure, see, some of the words are done in a gray. I might have to change that to a darker, like a 3, what's 317 look like? Yeah, 317 is a very dark gray. That would certainly, if I had to, I can change out that. But for the most part, the colors are going to match. So hopefully maybe you'll see this one next week as well. We'll see. I don't know. Those are my plans. The other thing is, I realized it is August 9th, and I am nowhere near finished with Mo's anniversary stitch, right? He's downstairs today. And I got the day off, so I don't want to say it too loud. I think this weekend I've got to get that one out because it's not going to take forever, but you actually have to stitch it to finish it. So I'm thinking that one needs to get some work done too. But anyway, so we have a new start. We have the Lena Ova Sal with one of the new starts. I'm going to finish the Olympics. We got 3 days left of the Olympics. And then this weekend is our Zoom weekend. So we decided to kind of celebrate World Cross Stitch Day today. We were just going to take the entire weekend and do some fun stitching. So tonight for 3 hours, tomorrow for 3 2-hour sessions, and then Sunday for a 2-hour session and a 4-hour session. If you'd like to join, we have our Zoom cross stitch weekend. And if you're part of my Facebook group, you'll see the information in a post below. I probably should have pinned it. It's there. Just scroll down. You'll scroll past some beautiful stitching if you do so. And it gives the links. Each one is a separate meeting with a separate meeting code, and you'll see the passwords and all that kind of stuff. I am, again, not savvy with technology, so that was the best I could do. And on Sunday, the large block, Sandy from Stitching with Sandy is gonna be the main host of that. She's helping me out because that's her normal. The second and fourth Sunday of every month, Sandy does a Zoom, and it just worked out perfectly. And Sandy wanted to help out anyway. I said, well, can we piggyback? She said, absolutely. So that information is there if you find it there. Now, if you're not on Facebook, don't worry. You don't have to join Facebook. You don't have to do any of that. You don't even have to join my group if you're not interested. Reach out to me on Gmail, Instagram, and I'll send you a picture of all of the information, so you'll know when all the login times are. And you don't have to tell me whether or not you're coming. You just kind of log in. Maybe you only have half an hour. You want to log in for half an hour? If you are shy and you don't want to talk, don't worry. Put yourself on mute and just stitch away, whatever. All of that fun stuff that goes with it. So there are a couple other surprises. A couple other friends are helping me and co-hosting some stitching time sessions on Saturday. Saturday, it's 10 to 12, 2 to 4, and 6 to 8. But I'm not going to tell you who's helping out. You're just going to have to wait and see. But yeah, so exciting. And if you get a chance, great. Come say hi. If you are busy, well, I hope you have a fabulous weekend, whatever it is you're doing. But that's my plans. So it's so funny because I said to Mo, okay, I'm going to do this. Because if you remember last year, in 2023, I did it in June on one of the StitchCon weekends. Because it was kind of like, yeah, I got nothing to do. Everybody's at StitchCon. Let's do something for all of us who aren't there. But I didn't get my act together to do that this year, so that's why I did it this weekend. So I told Mo about it. He's like, sure, go do that. And for those who don't know, my husband is very, very, very into pickleball. So he found there's actually, it's like 3 hours today, 3 hours tomorrow, and 2 hours on Sunday, a pickleball camp, a Nike sports camp pickleball thing for adults. So guess what Mo is doing this weekend? Of course, it's funny because some of the times he's gone, but then when he's back, I'm zooming. But we're like, you know what? We're just kind of doing our thing this weekend, and it's so much fun. So he's excited. Wishing him well. You know, it's kind of like something new, and you don't know what to expect. But I think he's gonna like it. Fingers crossed. And so that's I'm kind of that's our plans for the weekend. I've got other stuff to talk about, but that was plans in a nutshell for the weekend. But if you'd like to join, great. If you can't, don't worry about it. If you're a little nervous and you're not ready, that's okay. Join one of these when you're ready. And I get it. I completely understand. But if you would like to, we would love to see you. And I have no idea. Numbers could be, there could be 3 of us or there could be 33 of us. And I know when there's over 25, it goes to another page. And I'll do the best with, but we're just going to have fun, and we're just going to take it as it comes. Go with the flow. All right. What's next? I have one piece of shopping. That's it. I think I have something coming, and I've thought about a few other things, but I didn't. I watched 3 flip throughs, and after the 3rd one, I said, okay, that's it. I'm ready to give this a go. And in the order I watched them, I watched Helen D first, Steadfast Stitcher second, and then this week, I think, Runner Stitcher put out a flip through. And after the 3rd time, after I'd seen all the patterns 3 times, you know, because you think about, is it worth buying a book, right? You know, how many things would you stitch? And no, I would not stitch everything in here. But there was enough that I always kind of in my mind think, okay, how many would I stitch to make it worth it? Because then, you know, I mean, because the cost of the book versus if I had to buy all those patterns separately. And after the 3rd time of seeing the different stitches and so on and so forth, I decided it was worth it. I'm not going to do a flip through. You have those 3 wonderful people that you can watch. I'll link them, flip through links, their channels, so that if you want to see their flip throughs, and it's fun. I watch multiple flip throughs because I love seeing everybody's different plans, or what they like or don't like, or how they interpret the books, or whatever, magazines, whatever it is. I have one question for you as I'm going through this, though. So this is, surprisingly, it's so funny. It's smaller than I realized. This is my hand, and I don't have a very big hand. Look at my hand. That's about the length of it. And that's fine, because these are all like kind of petite patterns, which, you know, is kind of nice because I have a lot of big ones. It's very well done. It's very solid, so on and so forth. But it was funny. I pulled it out. It's like, oh. Now, I did notice, because of the fact that it's a petite book, that a lot of times the patterns, and I'm not showing you a pattern, I just want to kind of visualize for myself. Well, they obviously either go this way or this way. So has anybody ever, because I'm thinking even to make a working copy, I'm going to have to break the spine, right? You have to open it enough to get all that information. And I would make a working copy, even if I do it with what I'm going to ask my question about. Has anybody, I know some people talk about going to like a Staples, right? The printer center. And do you make it like a spiral bound? What do? They break the spine and then they spiral bound it. There is space. Has anybody done that to this book yet? Will I ruin and not, you know, will I lose some of the stitching? I suppose I could ask them at Staples too. Because I think this is definitely one, it's going to get kind of pulled apart anyway, because, you know, to make my working copies or to open it up to see. So I'm thinking this might be a really good candidate for doing that. So am I saying it right? Should I spiral bind it? is at Staples that I go to. That's the only office supply place I have around me. I do have a UPS store, but I don't know if they do things like that. And how much in do I need to worry about? So those are my questions with that, because I really like it. There is several that, what would be the first one? Because I'm not going to show you everything. What would be the first one I'd stitch? I'm not 100% sure on that. I do think I do really like these 4 seasons though. And I would stitch them separately and as a collection, put them in the scrapbook. But yeah, any advice on that would be fantastic. Thank you. Your experiences, your advice, if you've done it with this book. This is Max Pigeon. He's the owner of Pigeon Coop Designs, and it is called Cross Stitch in the Forest. And like I said, there could be other flip throughs that because you know, I can only see so many floss tubes in a given time, but those 3 right there, you can go and see if there's enough that you'd like with it too. But well done book, really nice done. All right, so that's it for shopping. Giveaways. So I have because I lost the power I lost the Wi-Fi last week, I should say. I couldn't pick my winner for the $10 gift certificate to Lindy Stitches, so I have 2 this week. The first one is Crombie TX. So if you get a hold of me, I think I just need your email address. I haven't done a gift certificate from Lindy Stitches before, but I mean, she seems very approachable. If I have questions, I'm sure she'll answer them to me. And the second one is Judy Sigsworth 8119. So congratulations, you 2. If you could get back to me. Oh, you don't want to see that. If you can get back to me with your email address, and then if there's anything else I need, I'll let you know, but I'm pretty sure that's it. And this week, where am I? So it's August. We know that fall is coming, right? And I went through and I found this one. I've stitched this one. In fact, I can show you. I pulled out from my small scrapbook, I pulled out the scrapped version of it. It's an 18 count. It was very small. And so I just had fun with stickers and so on and so forth. And they show it as a drum. This is Autumn Harvest from Silver Creek Samplers. It is 84 by 34. So you can see, but on 18 count, pretty small. So if you say the word harvest, Harvest, that's the word I'm going to look for next time I pull a winner. Please don't say giveaway or free. Please be at least 18. I would love it if you'd be a subscriber, but I'm not checking. I go by your word. You're on your honor on that. So yeah, so if you'd like to get a chance to win this one, just put the word harvest in the comments and we'll go from there. And I'd be curious, it'd be a cute little pillow. Obviously maybe a little bit bigger than 18 count, but it would make a cute little pillow. The drum is really cute. I'm sure there's lots of other things. You could just make it a little leaner if you wanted, or you could scrapbook it like I did. Anyway, so that's that. All right, so that's gonna go back in the scrapbook now. I'll just put that over here so it doesn't get bent. Okay, alrighty, that's all of that. So that's it. That's the stitching part. I've got a complete and utter mess right here with me. Don't all of us say that? I feel like once you're done filming, you've just got stuff everywhere. It looks neat and organized for the most part before I start, and then it's just a complete mess otherwise. Life, like I said, this weekend, I'm stitching. And again, if you're on the call with me, I will be better about getting up and standing up than I am today. But you know, if the hour hits and I haven't gotten up, feel free to say, Laura, get up for 2 minutes. Move around, do what you're supposed to do. There's actually the physical therapist, and that's part of life too. So I went yesterday to the physical therapist, and you know, we were talking about, because I have the broken toe, doing some of the exercises for my hip is tough because it's down and up on the floor, and I am terrified of like pushing that toe and displacing. Right now the broken bones are very nicely lined up, and I'm terrified of like messing that up. And I'm only 2 weeks post break, so you know, there's still healing to happen. So he gave me some of the same exercises, kind of a seated version of them. So I need to start doing those. So I could actually do those and stitch probably, but I'll forget. So feel free to remind me. I'll still probably get up and so on and so forth, but I get in the groove, and then you're like halfway through a strand, I'm like, oh, I didn't get up. And I'm like, okay, I'll do it when I get up, finish the strand, because I always want to finish the strand. And then next thing you know, you've started another strand and you're kind of like, darn it, I didn't get up. So feel free. I won't take offense if you start yelling at me to get up and move around. Other than that, you know, he said I took a little step back with I was frustrated this week. We kind of had changes in the barometric pressure because of the storm systems and so on and so forth. And my hip and back were sorer than usual. And he said, well, you did take a step backwards with the toe. It's just a fact of life. I'm not walking the same, even by using a cane to try to keep my stride the same. It's not. So I just have to be patient and realize that it's going to take a little bit longer, kind of thing. So I saw him yesterday, and usually the next day, I haven't checked my emails, he sends me an updated exercise thing that I need to do, stretches and strengthening. And I've been very good. You'll be proud of me. Every single day I do my stuff. So I will keep at that once I have, because I'm not sure what he's taking out or he's putting in. So we'll see. Other than that, not much at all, really. I'm just excited for my stitching. I'm excited for this weekend and a chance to kind of just chill and stitch and so on and so forth. And Mo's got a couple more weeks, and then I think my in-laws are going to come visit us, and he's going to take that week off. It'll be chill, but it'll be fun to see them. I haven't seen them now for quite some time, since last Thanksgiving. So it'll be good to see them. And that's about it, really. We're just kind of plugging along. I had my book club. Oh, it was so interesting. And because remember, it was what was it? 56 Days was the book. And it was so interesting to get different people's takes. So again, if you read it, I would love to know what you think about it. I have to get the new book. Our new book it's a James Patterson. I think it's Holmes, Marple, and Poe. Has anybody read it? Did you like it? Don't spoil it though for me, because I have to get it from the library. So I think I have to pick that one up. And then I've listened to one, and I have another one. Well, I haven't. I've only started listening to one, and I have another one in the queue. So if I like those or whatever, I'll talk about them. But I have nothing really to talk about book-wise. And besides Flosstube, I have been watching the most current season of My Life is Murder by, is that Acorn? I like that show. This is the 4th season, and I really enjoy it. So I think I have 2 episodes left to watch that. So that's kind of my separate watching from Flosstube. Yeah, so that's about it. That's all I got. So I am going to clean out my mess and coordinate maybe what I'm going to stitch this weekend, do some stitching maybe this afternoon. And yeah, we are very, very windy. We did not get a ton of rain, although we did get rain on and off. We are on the storm, the tropical storm Debbie went west of us. So Pennsylvania, New York, I think is going to get more rain. We're on the east side of the storm, so we are in a slight risk of tornadoes today, but we're not going to get like the flooding and stuff. Northern Delaware got much more rain than us, so they are definitely more of risk of flooding. But down here, we were very lucky compared to what we were supposed to get. But the wind is howling, and hopefully tornadoes don't come about. But otherwise, I was concerned maybe that, you know, with the storms and so on and stuff this weekend, that might be an issue with the Zoom weekend, and we had a backup plan. But it seems like all will be well. So I think everything will be fine with that. Yeah, that's about it. So if I see you, I see you. If you have any questions about the trading cards, you know to do the question thing and ask away, and I'll do my best to answer. And that's about it. So I hope you are well. I hope you are safe. I hope you get a chance to do something just for you. Not just this weekend, but each and every day. You are important. What matters to you is important, and what makes you happy is important. So always take that time to remember that you matter. It's just the way it is all I can say. So whether it's stitching, whether it's reading, whether it's, I've talked about this before, going out for a 10-mile run, whatever it is, go do it, enjoy yourself, take that time, especially for you. And until next time, happy stitching.